You are good. Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, November 6th, 2025, and we are here for a special city council meeting. I'm acting city council president right now because our mayor is away, and our city council president, Danielle Brown, is now acting mayor. So with that being said, just a little housekeeping. If you need to use the bathroom, ladies' room is right outside this door to the right-hand side. The gentleman's room is right at the top of the main staircase. In case of a fire, let's make sure everyone gets out safely together. Don't use the elevators. And that is all. If you have your phones, please make sure they're on mute so they don't interfere with any portion of the meeting. And at this time, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our newly elected Judge, Danielle Brown.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Clerk, can you give me the call of the meeting, please?
Yes. Thank you. This is City Council Special Meeting scheduled today, Thursday, November 6, 2025 at 5 p.m. We are here at City Hall in the City Council chambers for the purpose of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a tax anticipation note or TANs in anticipation of the collection of real property taxes for the fiscal year 2025 and any other such business. This notice was noticed to the Journal News, on our social media, email blasts, in the Rotunda and on the website.
Thank you so much. May I have a roll call?
Councilman Box Hill,
Present.
Councilwoman Brown,
Here.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Here.
Councilman Potteet is absent, and Acting Council President Thompson.
Here. Thank you. Right before we get into our agenda, we do have our comptroller here. If the comptroller would like to come up, or just a little presentation of some sort, and then we'll get right into our agenda. Thank you so much.
Good evening, your honorable body. Recognizing that on the agenda today is the request for me to issue out for a TAN, which is tax anticipation note for this year, which is similar to what we also ended up having to do last year to close out the year. TANs, as you very well may know, are for anticipation of what we will receive at a subsequent time. And so this year's TAN actually will mature at the end of this year, in which we will pay it out. We've included that actually in our cash flow documents as to what it is that we already forecast that between today and the end of the year that we will have to pay. So there's been some question as to why we actually are requesting the TAN and why we seem to be doing it year over year. And a lot of that is because we actually incur a number of expenses that occur that really are previous year's expenses, or they are expenses that we actually issue out, such as capital projects and things of that sort, in which we don't get the money back until we actually file for them to get reimbursement. And so, and some of those items actually extend beyond over the actual fiscal year itself. And so to give you kind of a understanding and a breakdown of it, totally this year, we've spent about $17,253,708 in previous years' expenses. And that's a combination of things that actually had been due before. A combination of that, which also includes school district taxes that we were repaying back. There was some, remember before we came before you about approval for an IRS issue around loaded payments for the fire department that happened in 2019. And then, of course, the health insurance payments that we had to also go into an agreement for on that actually had not got paid in 2020, 21. So, and then you take that $17 million and you break down, there's some of that money that actually we did get back. So capital expenses in which we actually paid for this year, that we actually did get the money back. So we less that out of the 17 million, which comes to about 6 million. So at that point now, we bring the number down and we're at 11,209,95,000 in which we've paid this year that really are expenditures that belong to previous years that actually would not have been a part of the budget itself. Of that, 3,946,860 was paid to previous school year taxes, right? And that's that agreement that we had for the 11.7 in which we had to pay out. Some of which I think we calculated somewhere around about 1/3, maybe even to 1/3, I think we actually did collect back for in this year. And then we also have the IRS, which was related to, again, a payroll issue that did not get handled in 2019, in which we had to go into an agreement with IRS on, which was for $1,592,000, in which we've paid to date. We're still paying it on a monthly basis as we continue to go forward. And then the health insurance, as you have adopted the agreement for us to pay back an additional $209,000 every month for the health insurance that did not get paid in 2021. Remember, half of the insurance got paid that year, right? So we've paid $1,676,564 on that. Without that, when you look at that, the total, of course, without, of course, the health and the IRS in school, we have additionally expenditures that we also are forecasting that we've actually had to pay in this year that we don't anticipate also will either one come back at the latter part of December or will come back in the following fiscal year of about $3,999,671. So, as you also know from my monthly reports and monthly analysis, the reports that I give you starting somewhere around about April, May, I began to articulate the issues with cash flow and potentially with cash flow if, again, our revenues did not actually improve over the time frame, as well as also being cautious in every Board of Estimates meeting about those things that we are actually approving, in which we are guaranteeing that we are looking for repay back from on those and reimbursement and what the time frame is for that. Most recently, in the Board of Estimates meeting, one of my questions was about a $2 million expenditure that actually came up this week, the latter part of last week, for a special meeting earlier this week related to paving and making sure that that was accounted for in our cash flow forecasting for the rest of this year. It wasn't that I know where the funds would come from, but it was that I wanted to make sure that it was included in our cash flow document as we are projecting what we're going to have to spend for the rest of the year, inclusive of our payrolls, when we have 4 of them remaining, which each of them are about $3.1 million each time. And we also have our health insurance, in which we, a little bit over 2 million plus the $209,000 that we have to pay at the end of each month for that. In addition to that, there's some additional payouts for our staffing, such as holiday pay and bonuses that happen in December as well. And so that's the reasoning around actually asking your approval for the TAN, because I want to make sure that not only do we get through this year based upon the expenditures that we've actually distributed that are not related to this year's budget. Remember now, none of this that I talked about was budgeted for. And so therefore is why it's not a budget issue as much as it is a cash flow issue and timing around it. But we also want to make sure that when we end the year, also going forward, that in the earlier parts of 2026, that we are able to actually do what we need to do, at least in that first month, as taxes then will start to come in earlier on. So that's the reasoning around the TAN for this year. We will actually pay off this year's TAN by the end of December. I think it's due somewhere around about December 23rd. And so that is part of our cash flow and also our forecasting moving forward. So that's it. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Councilpersons, do you have any questions for our comptroller?
Yeah, so where will the revenue, where will we get it between now and December? You said December what, but it's due?
Say that again?
Where's the revenue gonna come from? Where are we anticipating to collect that revenue, the $7 million to pay back by a month and a half time?
Well, one is that we have our state aid that comes in.
Okay.
That's a 7.1 million, right? We also, based upon even the estimates of when we get back the money from the payments that we just actually approved last week, that's the actual CHIPS money. This was about 2 million that is supposed to come back for that. We haven't gotten our actual sales tax money for this month yet, nor for next month. Now, we're being cautious with that because as you noticed, the sales tax revenue has been declining, especially in the past 6 months or so. And so the anticipation is that what we actually received last year in this time period, we probably will not receive in this year. So we forecasted it at a lower amount going forward. In addition to that, there are some other tax payments that are coming in. We are also next week, Monday, sending out also arrears notices for those additional taxes that are owed, inclusive of even those that are going to be part of the last tax lien, because there's also one last tax lien that is scheduled for somewhere between the 2nd and the 3rd week of December. So all of those things are what we've got in our cash flow document that says that, okay, while it's going to be tight, we should be able to get through, but in order to make sure that we're going to be able to do what we need to do in January, we need to actually do a TAN.
And thank you. And just to be clear, this TANs is not something uncommon. This is something we typically do on the county level as well. Normally at the beginning of the year, and before the taxes are collected. So it's despite having a robust fund balance at the county, in comparative to the city of Mount Vernon, it's pretty common practice. So thank you.
And I'm glad that you said that, Councilman, because it's also for the public to also understand that sometimes doing TANs, not in our case right now, but in like the case of the county, the reason why you would want to do that is because you don't necessarily want to deplete your actual cash that's in the bank that's actually helping you to make money, right? Because there's municipalities also would, of course, properly, based upon the law, invest their monies in places and put money aside so that it can grow for some period. So doing a TAN on it, also becomes a budgetary strategy that actually works. We're not, unfortunately, because we don't have a fund balance reserve. And again, if you look at the audits for the last several years, which again is up to 2020, which has nothing to do with my administration, but it is time and you see where the actual fund balance actually depleted and even went into deficit, right? And some very alarming numbers. And so as we look forward to that, we got to tighten our belts. We got to better manage on how we actually do payments for things that we got to be reimbursed for. We also have to hold tight to also the expenditures. As I've said in a number of occasions, we need to look at efficiency of operation, inclusive of the number of FTEs and that we have and all of that. So these are going to be part of those strategies in which we continue to try to talk with you all about, the mayor about, and also try to enforce with the department. So very tight time. I'm hoping that we won't have to be back here in the beginning of the year because of what's happening with the cash flow in and out. But there's a number of big projects that are happening that are not funded by us, right? And while we have grants and all of that, and we have the EFC that actually advances some money, there's some sewer projects that are happening that come with these big amounts, right, that actually have to be paid. But really what has tightened us, has really restricted us as a city, is that we are still paying for things that was before our time, right? And they're not small amounts. They're actually very large amounts on them. As we go forward, we shouldn't be in that position because we then will not be paying for things that actually are not within the budget year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Councilpersons, do you have anything else? Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Councilor Morton. Yes, it's important that you always come in. I'm glad that you're always willing to speak with us and our constituents because so many people take social media platforms to make assumptions, but it's always good to hear the facts. So thank you so much. With that being said, we'll get right into our legislation and public works. Lisa?
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. Item number 1, City Council and Ordinance authorizing the transfer of funds to account code A1010.405, contracted outside services. So moved.
Just to be clear, is this within the Department of Planning? Right? Is that what we're doing? We're just moving stuff within the same department? No,
This is
what,
all, everything, so we're moving from two departments, essentially, city council's lines and one of the city clerk's lines. And this is being moved into the city council's outside contractor
Okay.
services line.
how do I see that in this document? Is it,
It's in the letter.
okay.
I'll give you, you have the attachment there, correct? Page 3.
Mhm.
Contracted outside services.
Mhm.
The spelling error.
I guess, could you explain that again, President Brown?
Sure. So we have 3 lines that are city council lines. So we're moving funds from out of the travel expense city council line, the education and training city council line, the small equipment city council line. And then for the city clerk's line, we're moving money out of the software and software support line. And that is all going into the city council contracted outside services line.
Okay. I guess I just don't see how that's clear in this document.
You don't see how. what
No,
is-
that
The
those
lines,
wh-
the actual lines.
where they're coming from and where they're going. It's not like, I can't read that and see that it's coming from the clerk's office, or you're saying,
The budget codes are
The bud-
associated,
yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
The budget codes are associated with the different departments, so that's how you would be able to tell. And we also have the assistant comptroller here who can
Mhm.
come up and confirm if you would like him to.
You want that, Boxell? For clarity here?
I mean, if they so choose, that's fine.
You need it or no? 'Cause-
Yeah, I would like an explanation as well.
Okay, if,
Is there a copy of the agenda up there so that he can view it or no? Alright. Does that have the budget closed for him?
so his question is, it is here. Looking at the numbers, you can see exactly what's coming out. But it's not specified saying city council and clerk, so that's all he needs clarity with.
Yes, so the actual budget codes are aligned with the departments. And so the A 1010 code is the city council budget line, and the A 1410 is the city clerk's line. And so it coincides with the information that is in the actual adopted budget.
Acting President?
Yes, Gleason?
This is no different than any other legislation that we have done when we transferred lines.
No, same thing. Box Hill, does that suffice for you or you need more info?
No, I'm looking at the budget lines right now, so that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so, we still need a second for that. Are you seconding it?
Yeah, second.
Okay, on the question, any other? Hearing none, roll call. Thank you so much.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Acting President Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving right along to finance and planning, Box Hill.
Sure.
All right, number two, from the Controller's Office, an ordinance authorizing issuance of tax anticipation notes, TANs, in anticipation of collection of real property tax for fiscal year 2025. So moved.
Second?
On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Acting President Thompson.
Aye. That completes our agenda. Do we have anything else to come before council? Can I have a roll call for motion to close?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call on adjournment?
Councilman Box Hill,
Aye.
Councilwoman Brown,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gleason,
Aye.
Acting President Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The time is now 5:32 PM and this meeting is adjourned.